Walton Pond, where Jerry put a landmine in it. I remember that. Yes, because I knew the people who lived there, the side of Mr. Johnson.
I think that's about 1905, isn't it?
Of course, I can't read the stamps, what that says, but I should say so. When they had the cows in it, you see. It was before the First War, apparently.
That's all weeds in there now, isn't it, in the pond?
Yes, it's supposed to be cleaned out, but there you are, like everything else, nobody bothers.
No. Another one a bit later on.
Oh, good gracious.
I live in one of these little cottages. One of those three.
Oh, I know, you live along there, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, they're nice places with the inside properly done up. I know them. I haven't been in there, but is the boot shop still there? Ivert's.
No, that's gone now.
Has it?
Yeah, that's an Indian restaurant now.
Is it? That used to be a boot and shoe shop, didn't it? I knew that.
And the post office on Wendover Road.
On the just the other side, yes.
Yeah.
That's where we used to draw the old age pension before I had it sent to me.
Grammar school?
Yeah. What year was that?
1901, I think.
Oh, it's before my time. I left school 1913, so this... I don't know any of these. I knew the headmaster, Mr. Osborne. Those were the days when you had to behave yourself.
Or else, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Couple of army manoeuvre things.
Oh, I did the army manoeuvre. Oh, yes. Good gracious, the old bell tents and the 25 pounders. They was over the road opposite the millwright.
Oh, right.
Just across.
What, turn furlong?
Turn furlong. They was in that field at the side. The army was.
What, opposite the grounds of Walton Grange?
You went up turn furlong, straight up, yes.
Yeah.
Because what I remember about it, there was a frame like a goalpost with 4 bags of straw hanging in it.
Oh, right.
And blokes
with bayonets.
Bayonet practice. Yeah. Good gracious.
What sort of date would those be?
Well, if that was the First War, well, that was 1913.
Yeah.
I was born 1905, so I was about 8 or 9. Of course, the Second War was different. We knew all about that.
They could have been taken anywhere then, couldn't they, really?
Yes.
Round here?
It's a pity you can't tell where it is.
There's nothing in the background, is there?
No, but to identify it. And that one either too, what a shame.
They are. That's standing at the top here looking
that's
over.
Here looking up turn furlong.
Yeah.
There's the mill, right?
Do you remember Turn Furlong Farm?
Oh, we as kids was always up there. We knew it.
It's where the bungalows are, isn't it, now?
Exactly. Old people's bungalows.
Yeah.
That was all a farm out there.
So I see it on the map and, never actually seen photographs of it.
Yes, that was open ground. Used to try and fly kites up there, we did. Right up the top of Turn Furlong, there was just one old cottage, you see. An old farm cottage.
Some old place in New Street.
Yeah, I don't recognise it. That's a little before my time, that one. 71 New Street, yeah. So it doesn't give the date, does it?
No, I should think it's about early 1900s.
Yes, by the look of the clothes. I don't know what it says on those boards. Do you know what they were?
One of them says Luff Coal Merchant.
Oh.
Old Beams Restaurant.
Oh, that was up Kingsbury, up in Market Square. Old Beams, near Jones and Cox's, wasn't it?
Yeah. Little passage up the side.
That's it. That's long gone. Luncheons and teas. Morning coffee.
That's from 1938, that one.
Yeah.
I think you can tell that because one of them's got an Odeon poster outside.
Old kettle being boiled over the fire, open fire there. That was the old Beams Aylesbury. Yeah, they're in good shape, aren't they, those cards?
Yeah, I've never seen them before.
Oh, no.
Another one of the pond.
Oh, Chester is not local. Hey, was it that from Chester? The Aylesbury picture on it come from Chester.
Yeah, you get dealers selling them.
Yeah.
That's how you pick these up.
Just to let you know that I'm back in the old game again. Cheerio, Arthur. Do you remember Arthur?
Good old Arthur. I don't know if you remember Walton Street when it was like that. That's looking down it from near the church, looking towards the town.
Oh no, a little bit before my time that was. No.
Do you remember it when there was buildings on the opposite side of the
I
road?
remember the buildings up there, opposite Walton Church. What was that called? Prospect Place, was it?
Yeah.
That's right, I remember all that. Yes, Prospect Place.
There was a pub along there called the Ram.
That's right, I knew it. There was 2 or 3 pubs there. I know further down by the Copper Kettle. Do you remember where the Copper Kettle used to be?
Yeah,
There was a pub next to that, the Bear, wasn't there?
there was, yeah.
I know the
Yeah.
criminals, they used to say the criminals was kept at the old Bear before they was executed. As kids they used to tell us in those days.
Yeah.
Of course we believed it all.
I was trying to find out about the Ram, exactly where it was. I'm not sure if it's in that photograph or not. It's along there somewhere. It disappeared about 1938.
Yes. I should have ought to remember it.
I suppose that lot disappeared when the police houses were built.
Yes. They rebuilt it all along there.
Many times over, didn't they?
Exactly. This is not too old, this one, isn't?
There's that car in it, isn't there?
Mm.
There's a car coming towards you.
Oh, I remember that little shop at the side there. It's a paper shop.
Somebody living there now.
Is there?
Turned it back into a house.
Marvellous, these pictures.
Yeah. There we are. Walton Engine Works.
That was it here. I do remember it because there was a scenic railway that used to run over this bit of ground in those days. Mr. Morris, because the railway, you see, used to run over this bit of ground before the wall ain't here, runs down along there. Because on top of the wall, if you can look at it carefully, bedded into the concrete is what they call plowshares. You know, those triangular pieces off a plough.
Oh, right. There's still some of his ironwork about the town, isn't there?
Oh yeah, yes.
Drains and that.
The drains, it's got his name on them.
Yeah. That's Station Street, that is. Outside the Prince of Wales.
Yes. One of my mother's friends lived in those houses. Plested. One of them used to play for Aylesbury United. Toss Plested, as we called him. Nice horses. Oh, you put in not a little bit of date on these, isn't there? Horses, nice some lovely animals. But 21?
Mm.
Well, that's not so long ago. I ought to remember that. I was 16. 1916. I wonder if anybody else is about today.
Why, I don't
I
know.
suspect there is, oh yeah. I ain't the only one of. Yeah, put some names on there. I should have known them then.
That one's very faded, that one.
Oh yeah.
That's the children's ward in the Royal Bucks.
Oh yeah. Mm. Pity they don't use the old Royal Bucks still for hospital.
Yeah.
Hartwell Road. Oh, good gracious. Do you remember Star Lodge?
Yeah.
Walk across there and used to come out back where the wife used to live, down Eathorpe Road. Do you remember Eathorpe?
Yeah, I've been down there. Yeah.
She lived at Triverdale, as they called it, when she was alive down there. And the next house was a person lived who was the managing director, not managing director, the secretary, let's get it right, to Churchill over at Chequers.
Oh yeah.
And Mrs. Hill. She lived next door. She had a son, and when he was demobbed, he was a captain. I bought overcoat off of him for £2. Also his army boots, and that lasted me for years.
Don't know the date of that one.
Oh, this is a cattle market. Old Loaders was on the corner in the old cattle market. We went to school there in the First War.
Mm.
They turned the state end here because they used it as a hospital.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we had to go to the town hall.
That's Market Square. There's Hazel's Dramatic Society.
Wonder who that man was. Oh, no date on this because Dad was up Hazel's for 50 years.
Yeah.
Up at the comp. Yes, those were the days, weren't they, when they used to have dramatic societies and things.
They did a lot, didn't they, Hazel's?
Yes, they did. Because the Institute finished, I think, along Victoria Street, but it used to be up the Market Square, back of Jones and Cox.
Oh right.
That's where that Hazel Institute was.
Silver Street, wasn't
Yes, that's right, yeah, back to Silverstone.
it? Yeah. So I was reading they had a library there, didn't they, as well?
Oh, like the reading room.
What building was that then?
Well, it was back up a little alley. Up Silver Street at the top. And
Yeah.
then you turned up a little alleyway which would have brought you, it did, through the passage into the Market Square.
Oh, I know, yeah. I think I know the one you mean.
Yeah.
So that's Kingsbury with the tank in there.
Oh, I knew the old tank. Very well I did.
So that blew up, didn't it?
Well, they say...
When they were taking it apart.
They may have said they did. But us kids was around when they moved it. But there might have been a little explosion, but nothing to worry about.
Oh.
Oh no, might have been a little drop of fumes in the tank.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about.
So there's all these stories about things flying through the air and...
No, there was nothing whatsoever. It was just a lot of so-and-so. It was removed quite quietly out of the way. I remember them bringing it to Aylesbury and putting it up there. And that was there a number of years, and they quietly removed it. Nothing at all happened to it.
That was there for all of the 20s, I think.
Yes, it was a number of years, but what interests me more, in the building along the side, it had the aeroplanes repaired on the top.
Yeah. How on earth would they repair aeroplanes then? Where would they find the room for it?
I'm so if I know, that's what it got on the roof.
They'd have to do it outside, wouldn't they?
Well, I suppose the aeroplanes would come down upturn furlong. They did eventually. There was a race from London to Birmingham when I was a nipper, and they stopped up turn furlong halfway and stopped overnight, and then finished the flight to Birmingham. I had to do it in 2 journeys, come out from London to Aylesbury and from Aylesbury to Birmingham. And then eventually they used to have 5-shilling flights around here. Do you remember Artwood House?
Yeah.
There was a field there, and the aeroplane used to come down there, and you could go have a flight round Aylesbury for a quarter of an hour for 5 shillings. Oh, we used to because the wife come from Heathrow, and we used to go and have 2 or 3 flights round Aylesbury. No, you can't see what that says on the top, it's too fuzzy.
I think it just says Aylesbury Motor Company. Yeah.
And this water fountain in here, that's in the Vale.
You remember Fleet's Basket Works?
Oh yes, Atkins, go along Lovers Walk, get the osiers out and bundle the osiers up.
Yeah.
And, oh yes, I remember all that. And you come out in Park Street.
Good deal later, that one.
Oh yes, Kingsby. Oh, they reduced the island a bit. Yeah, not too old, that one, isn't? Ah, that's the Market Square, that is. When they unveiled that statue, who was that, the statue there, the back of? They moved that and put it up the side of the bank, haven't they?
Yeah. They got him pointing at Disraeli now.
Exactly, yeah. The statue used to be up by the War Memorial. I remember that being unveiled about 1911, I think it was, and us kids all lined up under the clock tower.
That was Paxton, wasn't it? When that was,
yeah, singing War Britannia, rather shouting War Britannia. Oh dear, those were the days.
So you remember the George Hotel then?
Oh yeah, I know up the top there, yes.
And the Crown?
Yes, at the top. The Crane Tap, as we called it. And that was in the High Street, a little bit.
Mm. And Bradford's?
Oh, Bradford and Jowett's, and old Jowett just lived up the road here. Because I belonged to the Rifle Club, we used to have to buy cartridge 22s.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the square hasn't altered all that much, really, has it?
No, it's still recognisable, isn't it?
Exactly. Only thing is different, you haven't got cattle around there like we had in those days. Before they shifted the old cattle market.
Hazel's?
I already remember that. Yes, that was a nice place, Hazel's was, just next to the cemetery. Of course, like everything else, it's gone.
That was huge, wasn't it?
Yes. Dad worked at the top of it, right up there. 50 years.
What was he then?
Comp.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The compositor, old Dad was. Right at the top. He worked at the Bucks Herald for 6 months and then got in Hazel's.
They looked after their workers, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Dad did very well. We bought number 2 Coronation Villas for £200, and Dad had 100, and if I got it right, I think they give him 100 to pay 200 for number 2 Coronation Villas.
Yeah, they bought a lot of houses round here, didn't they?
All that, and they're still up to the road. Just to see a bit of, you wouldn't remember Dr. Parsons, would you?
No.
A little bit of his place there.
They just sold that for about $500,000.
What, old Dr. Parsons' place? Oh, are they really?
Yeah. Terrible, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
Wouldn't mind it myself.
Oh.
A big garden out the back.
Well, I know it ain't the back here, you see, all the way there. But of course, what we call, do you remember Parrott's Field and all that business, do you? Going down the road, a little passageway, isn't there? We cross there. And that was a big field there.
Is that the one that comes out by the church?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That was all field work.
Eventually.
That
the Crofts.
That you belong to the brewery.
So there was another house out the back here, weren't there? Walton Cottage, was it?
There was 80, that's all gone though, because you come along from Walton Road and there was a little roadway up to it. Of course, that's all gone though. That hasn't changed a lot, really, has it?
No. Just the opposite side of the road that's all gone, isn't it?
Yes, that's the trouble. And if you come out by Walton Church and across the road, they called it what we did the Humpty Dumpty field. Because it backed onto the railway, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it's all hills.
Should recognise that one.
No, we don't.
We're not far away from it.
Good Highbridge Road, not blimey. Well, that was before this was built.
Yeah, there's nothing there, is there?
No. I would tell you a bit of a racket about that. We used to live at number 25. That's the other side. And on the plans of the house was 4 more houses on the end of it, which come down to Prince's Road. Well, you go and have a look there, what they did to craft it up. They built one further house, number 23, and then they suddenly built Prince's Road and put 10 houses along there instead of finishing Highbridge Road off with 2 more houses down to Prince's Road. They suddenly stopped building. That's what they did in those days. Oh, I remember it.
I've seen on old maps, Highbridge Walk used to be here long before all of this.
Yeah.
Used to come up by the millwrights.
Exactly, yes, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did just as they liked.
They are, there's Prince's Road there, looking towards the High Street.
Baldwin's shop, sweet shop. They want badly built houses for about £200, you know.
No, good houses, isn't
Yes. Of course, they got no front garden.
they? No. That garden's alright though.
Exactly. Good gracious. I remember all this. Yeah, that hasn't changed a lot out there.
That's one looking the other way.
Oh. That's Highbridge Road there. Quite Beaconsfield Road. I think those houses were built for about a couple of hundred. I remember the building of Coronation Villas, not the first lot, the second lot. A man named Satham from Wadston built them.
Of course the bridge has been rebuilt a few times, isn't it? The footbridge.
Well, I can remember it twice, that's all. I can't remember any more. That, quite recently, that's been done. I remember High Street being rebuilt. They had to do that because that gave way. The traffic was getting so heavy, they had to rebuild High Street. That was when I was at Nipper. Aylesbury really hasn't changed all that much, you know, from what it was. I don't know what you think about it, but there's not a lot of change in the places, really. Not for the better. Pity they closed the railway up.
Oh god, yeah.
To Cheddington.
Yeah, they shouldn't have done that.
They shouldn't know.
We need that now, don't we?
We do, absolutely, yeah. Because you can get on and that go north.
Yeah. Although they're on about opening the Quainton one up, aren't they?
Are they? Oh.
To go north.
Yeah.
Join it up with Winslow and, you know.
Oh, yes. Place hasn't altered a lot, really. Take them a look at these places. The lobster pot, as they called it.
Back to the Rockwood now.
Yes.
And the Foresters round the corner.
Yeah. For the flea pit.
Yeah.
That's what they called that. At Pebble Lane. That was the flea pit.
Because it was a rough place, was it?
Oh, shocker. Of course, it's not so bad now. They sell vegetables and that in there now.
Yeah.
But that used to be a drunken old place. The flea pit, as we called it.
Do you remember Chamberlain's in Buckingham Street?
Do I?
Chamberlain's. Motor engineers.
I remember them, yes. I'll have to think for a moment where they were.
Yeah. There was a pub on that site before then called the Rose and Crown.
Oh. Yes, they made a fair bit of alteration there.
Yeah, the Sainsbury's there now.
Yeah, exactly, yes, that's right.
But I've never seen any photographs of Chamberlain's.
There might be some up in the museum. You know, that's worth a visit, that is. Well, I like it because it's got all my family photographs and that in it. Because my original family were bakers. You wouldn't remember them. Andrews, the bakers, top of Main Street. Hot course buns, 6 we used to pay a bit of penny each in those days because they had a baker's shop, and there was what they called Ducky Weston. Have you heard of him? I knew him.
Duck breeder.
I knew him, yeah. He had a place there in Main Street, the old ducks, because he bred them and they went to London. Old Ducky Weston, I knew him very well. Because the water on the mill there, I don't know whether that's still there. No, I don't think it is.
No, they pulled that down.
No, they pulled it there.
Houses there now.
There was a big water wheel there too. Well, there used to be some nice walk, the pike, as we called it, across the road or across the fields, come out the back of the sewage works. Of course, that's all altered now.
Yeah, gatehouse. It's that big old house there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
The gatehouse.
Remember the old gatehouse there? Up Whitehill. There's a big house there. I remember that. I had a big field because I was in the Scouts at the time. And we used to build our camps. The Aylesbury Scouts. And then from that we graduated to the Terriers. They got the drill all down Oxford Road. After I finished with the Terriers, we had a rifle club down there, because I used to run the rifle club. Well, that's some time ago. And the small arms, 2.2s.
Very narrow road that, wasn't it, Whitehill?
Oh yes, up the back there. Just come down there, you had to be careful in the bottom there. That was a bit slummy in those days, before they modernised it and built houses down Oxford Road, opposite the drill hall. Big open field.
Do you remember those cottages that were on the end of the hill? On the right hand side going down? There was about 4 cottages, weren't there?
I believe there
Up the
was.
side.
Come to speak about it.
And then opposite was the hen and chickens, wasn't it?
I knew the hen and chickens, they rebuilt that back. That was right on the edge of the road, so they rebuilt that further back. That was one of my stamping grounds, the old hen and chickens, after we come out the drill hall. Well, when we finished in there, and if we didn't want to go up to the bar at the Terriers, we thought we'd have a change. We used to come up to the hen and chickens.
So you had your choice of pubs in those days, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, that was the Rising Sun.
Yes, they are.
And the Plume of Feathers up the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're up the hill there before you come to top of Castle Street.
Black Horse. I don't know whether you remember that one.
No, I don't. A little bit before my time. Yeah, I remember because my first wife come from Oxford Road, the baker's shop. Then there. My first wife was at Andrews, old Bessie, but her father was Councillor Andrews. He closed up Upper Andrews that used to be a bit slummy. When he did that, closed that and built Mill Way and put the people who lived up Upper Hundreds down Mill Way. Oh, that's a year or two ago, that is. My dad, he was 45. He got on the reserves of the army, but they didn't want him. He was a bit too old in those days. So he had to be a special. And he used to patrol all around those places at night. I often laughed, he had to get on top of the market square, the county offices, with a pair of binoculars, looking for zeppelins. Got another one, have you?
Just one more postcard. Queen Street.
They weren't bad houses, you know, for in those days, were well built. Gardens. Mum and Dad lived up Queen Street. They moved from Queen Street to Albion Street, and then they built Coronation Villas and bought number 2. Originally number 2 Coronation Villas was number 1 because there was a bit of spare ground. Of course, and then somebody come along and wanted to build a house onto number 1 where Dad lived, and they wanted to use the outside wall of the house as the main building, but Dad wouldn't have it. He said, if you want to build another house, number 1, and renumber it, you've got to build another 4.5-inch wall, you see, and make the wall 9 inches thick. But the crafty builders wanted to tack it onto the side of Dad's house. Still, I suppose they want bad houses for £200.
This is the landmine damage
Oh, is it?
from 1940.
Oh, I remember that. It came down on the parachute, the landmine did. No, I never said nothing about it. Bernard Rowe, he lives over the road. And he was talking to me a little while ago about it when we was supposed to be on duty. And he says, remember when the landmine come down on the parachute? And I didn't say anything because I didn't want people to think I was shooting a lion. But that's true. That dropped over the back in the pond. And then that went off.
I thought it dropped over the back of Walton Grange.
Well, that was in that area somewhere. But we always say it fell in the pond. We didn't actually know, well, we did worry a lot.
Because that one there is them cleaning it up. They're in the bomb crater.
Is there? Oh. 1940. Good gracious. Yes, blimey.
Do you remember it going off then?
We do, over the back here, not half. But yet, you know, we were shielded a bit by the other houses.
Yeah.
We was at the front. It tore a hole right through. It didn't fetch the whole lot then, so as far as we remember, that's a while ago, you didn't worry much about it in those days. You got a bit of cover. We had a shelter down. I lived at number 25. My brother-in-law was alive. We built a concrete shelter there. We didn't use it a lot because we didn't get a lot of bombing around it. Only once. Well, it shows here, doesn't it? Good Lord.
Peggy says it was about 7:30 in the evening it went off.
I don't remember what it was. What we used to get round here, they was on the way to the Midlands. They used to come over here and you went, ooh, 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 the old German Heinkels. That's just Smiths and the Heinkels coming over here. We used to say, here comes the buggers getting away. We didn't get very far, we couldn't. These are marvellous photographs, these, aren't they?
They come from the Hazel scrapbook.
Did they really?
Yeah, down in the record office.
I remember it coming down, and we went in a few places, but it's hazy now what went on. But that was the only really bad rain we had round here, you know, during the war. A few dropped out in the bit and that. because there used to be a big searchlight at Burton, but it's 3 foot in diameter. And I used to light the area up all over the place. And old Jerry used to go after that and try to put one at it, but whether they ever succeeded or not, I don't know. We wasn't troubled really a lot from air raids, not reindeer. Only the one that did drop, you see, by the pond. But otherwise there was not a lot. Fetched all the tiles and the windows, eh? The blast, it didn't blow the windows in, you know. It pulls them out. It creates a vacuum and the windows come out. I laid them in the garden. Broke them, of course, but they didn't go in. I don't know, I don't recognise where this was, I don't really. Because the chimney pots are still standing there. They're knocked down. I tell the honest truth, I don't remember all this damage, and I lived right through it all here. I remember we was back at work next day, and when the air raid siren used to go off during the day, we used to get under the bench. And what good we don't know. You know, all I remember making the rivets for putting the aircraft together. I remember today, DTD, Department of 327. We made the rivets and they had to be heat treated because it mucked them up, and to bring the wire back to its original strength, breaking strain of an 1/8 diameter rivet was £400 because we used to test them. They put them in the Spits and Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes didn't have so many because they was only canvas things, but they make the Lancasters and that. We put them in the Lancasters of aluminium and duralumin mixed, 50% of each. After the rivets were made, we had to heat treat them to a certain temperature, and they had to stand for 5 days to stand back to the original strength. And I remember then at Gloucester, Morton Valence, I don't know, that was a place near Gloucester, they was just developing the jet engine. I got involved in it, I don't know where they wanted special rivets, I suppose. They put the special jet engine, they were just developing the jets, and they put them in a mosquito frame. Mosquito was a wooden aircraft, wasn't it? The old mosquitoes. I feel I was more frightened while I was up in Birmingham, because you see the Biffs had made riveting machines which was supplied to the factories, Fisher and Ludlow's and all those firms in Birmingham for making different parts of bombs and all that. And I was more windy going up there to look at them things. Hey, good photographs really, it shows what did go on, you see, but I suppose I hadn't much time to study it in those days. We was at work too much.
Yeah.
Anybody see the younger generation saw these photographs, think half Aylesbury was demolished, wouldn't they?
Well, it was later.
Yeah, but not with the bombs though.
No. No, they made up for it though, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yes, but
I don't know how long after the blast that was, those.
no.
Looks like maybe a couple of days after, because there's
Exactly,
quite a bit cleared up.
I always remember I was on duty. Crew was on the morning after the raid. We come down Walton and turned by the Walton corner, and the only damage we saw was beside the pond. They had knocked that haystack immediately near the corner of the pond, where a man named Joby Johnson lived. He was killed, that was the only casualty. And he was supposed to be looking for his cat. My first wife's parents took in a man and his wife and daughter from Harrods. The man had to go back and do fire watching. Well, he went up there to look after Harrods. They put a bomb through Harrods. He went off in the morning to do the night shift. He never come back again. Tragic, you know, you can't think of it. All for what use? Well, that's a very interesting photograph. They are, isn't it?